Dave?
Hey, Rob. David
Hey.
Moore, Dallas Morning News. I know you'll be shocked that we're going to hit you with red zone questions, but with the
Surprise.
The offensive line issues and unfolding so late in the week, how do you balance what you did and didn't do in the red zone versus having an inexperienced group in there? And does it make it more difficult to sort through what is and isn't working down there?
No, I think, overall, I thought the guys that had to step up played really well. I thought, I'll start with Brock. I think, we didn't miss a beat in terms of the communication, the leadership. He's still got the same cover and finish that Tyler Biotic has. So I thought he did a really nice job communicating. We tried to go silent, or we started to use normal cadence at first, and that was one of the false start penalties we had. We couldn't hear, so we had to adjust that. But I thought he played really well. T.J. Bass is a young player that we've talked about in here from time to time. Big, strong, physical. His ability to recover when he gets edged or beat on an inside or outside move is really impressive. His lower body strength, his ability to stay connected to the ground is really good. And then, Chuma's just been a guy that's been able to do so many good things for us, whether it's guard, tackle, whatever it is. So, hey, injuries are part of this business. I thought we adjusted. I don't think that was part of the red zone problems. I think the red zone bottom line is we just kind of shot ourselves in the foot. If you put yourself in third down and long in the red zone, it's hard. And so I think that's where we got to look, and we got to find a way of winning first and second down there. Too many third and longs, and so what happens is you get shell defense, or you get where they play soft umbrella. They try to make you throw the ball underneath, and that's kind of hard. So a big emphasis for us is going to be getting ahead of the sticks down in the red zone. That's throwing the football, running the football efficiently, and then, in terms of, playing above the 2.3. Part of red zone football is scrambles. And I didn't think we did a great job reacting, and our spacing wasn't great in that regard. So starts with me, having to coach it better, make those opportunities show up. But we're excited about the chance to get back to work, and we know that we did so many good things, but man, that we should have been able to punch a couple of those touchdowns in.
From a Clarence Hill four-star telegram, from a theoretical standpoint, when you're trying to have success in the red zone, and everything has to be perfect scheme-wise, how tough it is when you don't have a Mike Evans or a Dez Bryant or Gronk, some big mismatch down there that you can get those one-on-one things.
Yeah, we have plenty of mismatch guys. I think, again, it just when you come down to it, there was just plays where we're this close. Brandon Cooks has one on the boundary, he's this close. Michael gets behind the corner on one, it's that close. I mean, there were plenty of opportunities. I mean, we just again, it's one of those days where it didn't come together. And in a game like that, where you're moving the ball up and down the field and you feel really good about it, we just never were able to find a rhythm down there. And again, I think where it starts is when you put yourself in a second and long or third and long situation, the advantages to the defense, because they've got a couple things that they want to do. They know you have to try to throw the ball a little deeper into the end zone, and that makes it difficult. And you got to give them some credit. They did a really nice job. They matched some of our patterns really, really well. And when we were forced off the spot, we weren't able to capitalize on those like we have in the past.
Todd Archer with ESPN, you've competed against Belichick defenses a lot over the years. What do you expect from them in the red zone? You always hear about the variety of packages they bring. What do you expect this week from them?
Obviously, a great coach. A lot of history with him, both in Seattle and then for 6 years with the Jets. His big thing is he wants to make you play left-handed. He's going to try to take away your best players, so he'll have a plan for trying to find our pieces, and whether he wants to take CD away or how he wants to attack the run game. But just a terrific coach, and it's a fun matchup to look forward to. There'll always be something unscouted that you haven't seen, and again, I've always enjoyed my competition against him. But they're playing really well. I mean, they're very physical. One of the most fundamentally sound teams you'll see. They don't make a lot of mistakes. Very gap conscious in the run game. Do a really good job from a coverage standpoint. If there's a better young corner in the league than Gonzalez, be hard pressed to find. He's playing at a really high level. They matched him on Tyreek a couple weeks ago. Garrett Wilson yesterday. So really playing at a high level. So another really good challenge for us defensively. The good news is there is some carryover from the 3-4 aspect that we just saw against Arizona. But again, ton of respect for not just Coach Belichick, but the entire team and the way they play and the way they have their guys prepared every week. Be another great matchup for us.
John.
John Michaud, The Athletic. What did you think of Michael Gallup's play yesterday?
I thought it was awesome. Again, I would have loved to seen us connect on that late one. But again, we got the question a couple weeks ago about MG, and like we say all the time, you just never know. You never know where the ball is going to go. But you see him high pointing the ball down the boundary. That was one of the things we wanted to do this last game, was kind of attack their young corners, and he was able to do that both versus press man to man. He got behind the guy on our sideline, and then he showed his ability to catch a hitch and make the guy miss. So again, he's the type of guy that when he's one-on-one and you get a chance to get him running vertically, more times than not, he's going to come down with the ball. But I just love the way he's wired. It's never been about how many catches he has. It's about us winning. And I think when you talk to our group as a whole, that's the way our guys are wired. We just want to win games. And, I thought he did a ton of terrific things yesterday that gave us a chance to win the game. And unfortunately, we fell short because we weren't able to get the ball in the red zone.
Saad.
Hey, Brian. Saad of The Athletic. In the red zone, you guys were the top team in the NFL last year. With Dalton leaving, Zeke leaving, how much of it is a personnel adjustment for you guys as well to figure out which players can capitalize in that area of the field?
Yeah, again, every year is different. Each week is different. I think this is more of something for us where, again, like I stated earlier, it's not a personnel issue. It's more of, hey, how do we get ourselves in second and manageable? How do we get ourselves in third down and manageable where you're not up against it a little bit? And again, that's got nothing to do with third down. That's got to do with let's not have penalties, right? We shot ourselves in the foot a couple times yesterday with some penalties. I think of the 7, we had 3 in the red zone. That certainly hurts you. But this is not a matchup thing. We've got terrific players, and we just have to execute better. We have to coach better. And when the plays are there to be made, we have to do those things. And it'll be a big emphasis for us this week. We'll get it started early. We'll rep the hell out of it. We'll make sure that we feel good about the plan. But again, it's certainly not something to do with our players. We have really, really talented guys that we feel very good about. And like anything, when you have something that you struggle with, what do? You emphasize it. And the way our players are wired, they're going to bounce back and they'll accept that challenge. And I think we'll play really well this week down there.
Speaking of the players, Jake and Luke both had a touchdown in the red zone last week. How important is the tight end position in general in that area?
Yeah, it's incredibly important. I think, we talked about that. Again, they don't get enough credit for how well they're doing in the run game as well. I thought our gap schemes, our ability to control the line of scrimmage yesterday was really, really good. You see a guy like Ferguson pulling around and playing, a pseudo H-back, fullback type thing. Those guys are doing so many good things in all 3 phases, from the protection standpoint, from the run game to the pass protection. But the versatility of a tight end, that's what you want from those guys. And again, 3 really good young players that helped us a ton yesterday in the running game to really kind of control the line of scrimmage and do what we needed to do in the run game yesterday.
Babe.
Babe Loffberg, Cowboys Radio Network. So Brian, obviously, Will Greer's up there. He's undergoing an interrogation.
Yeah, of course he is, yes.
How much are you going to have to kind of be on your P's and Q's as far as changing hand signals, checks, all that kind of stuff?
Yeah, we're always aware of it. Those are things that we monitor every week, but certainly we know Will knows where a lot of the bones are buried. Zeke obviously does as well. So those are things you talk about, and you think about, okay, hey, let's adjust this one. We certainly have more than one hand signal for most of our core concepts. And sometimes, Babe, as you know, you can use it to your advantage because they think that they know what's coming and they hear something, they think, oh, hey, it's this, and we're smart enough to adjust those things. So, again, everybody does it. You get a player that's been somewhere, you bring him in, you talk to him about different things, and then you're very selective about how much you put into it. And so, again, excited to see Will. It'd be great to see him, but I'm sure he's definitely being interrogated and probably spending a lot of late nights with their defensive coaching staff.
Nick Harris, DallasCowboys.com. No touchdowns for receivers going through 3 weeks. Do you put a lot of stock into that? And then how do you get those guys going in the red zone?
Well, again, I think, certainly those are some of our best players, so we want to do that. I think it's going to happen naturally. I think talked about the execution, the efficiency down there. We're close. We're close on a couple different things. we'll certainly look at, some of our formation builds and how we want to move guys around and changing the pieces around. But this is something in my experience in this league that, again, it comes in ebb and flow. Like, you get off to a slow start in something, you emphasize it, and then they bounce back. But, again, just one of those deals where it's not just the receivers, it's the entire unit that has to play better down there, including us as a staff. And like I've said, it's not a personnel issue. We got plenty of good players, and again, we know the importance of scoring touchdowns, and we have to do that. And again, if we do that yesterday, then we probably win the game. And unfortunately, we weren't able to make those plays.
Calvin.
Calvin Watkins, Dallas Morning. Your tight ends are obviously doing a lot of good things, and they're a young group. How do you measure? You're some young guys, but you got to make some plays for us in critical situations. You have to see some drops.
Yeah, well, again, all in all, again, early in the Giants game, we talked about the conditions, right? There were some drops, but this is a league of contested catches, right? There's going to be contested catches. It's tight coverage, it's match coverage every week. The days of spot drop zone is still mixed in there some, but there's going to be a time and a place where it's match man-to-man or even zone match, and so it's a contested catch. I thought Dak made a beautiful throw yesterday to Fergie on a little outcut in a 2-minute drive, and the safety was a bang-bang play. Safety made a really good play. So, again, I think, we don't worry about the catch. We worry about fighting through contact. There were some plays down the red zone where there was contact, and we got called for an OPI on one. But we got to be really good at fighting through the break point. And what's the break point? The break point is when a defender sits at a landmark, we've got just as much right to that area as they do. What we got to be careful is that we don't extend. That's what they look for. So, again, get back to using our flipper and bent arm pressure and things like that. But that's more of an emphasis for us, is creating that separation. And when you're playing these match teams, it's fighting through the break point. So he squats, I get low, I use same foot, same shoulder to try to ricochet the guy off, and that helps create separation in those situations.
Michael.
Michael Gelkin, Dallas Morning News. What were your impressions of Rico Dowdle's performance? And it came only to 11 snaps. Tony's seen a lot of work these past couple of weeks. Is that a margin that he wanted to narrow? Did Rico earn that? And is that beneficial to Tony?
Well, again, I think, like we talked about, every game's different. If you would have told me these last two games we'd play 170 reps of offense, I wouldn't have thought that was something that we would see. It's the way the games have unfolded. It's our ability to control the football and move the ball up and down the field. In terms of Rico, not surprised by the physical nature that he plays with. He plays with a chip on his shoulder. He plays violently. He plays with great feet. I thought the screen was just really, really well executed. We got T.J. Bass out in front. We got Brock out in front. If you watch Brandon Cooks down the boundary, runs the guy off, and then actually gets the guy on the ground, which was huge. But maybe the second screen run that Rico had going the other direction was even more impressive. I think he broke 5 or 6 tackles. Again, guys were covering down for him. So, again, a guy that we have a ton of belief in. It's a situation when you're trying to come back, and Tony wants to be out there, and he's a competitor. And, again, as the season goes, again, we don't plan on being in 80, 82, 83, 84 play games, but it's something we're certainly mindful of. And we have zero doubts about Rico, Deuce, any of those guys, that if they get in there, they'll do a hell of a job with their ops.
Joe.
Joe Hoyt, Lone Star Live. Tyler Smith made his debut. What did you think of his performance?
I think he looked terrific. His technique wasn't always perfect. Again, he hasn't had much chance to practice, but just the talent and the way he played, just the physical presence. You watch some of his pulls where we were pulling him from left to right, and you see the physical nature that he strikes those edge players with. Really impressive, the power he has in his body, and it was great to have him back. And I think he was probably the one that was really probably the most gassed after all those plays, just because, again, he hasn't had that many reps in practice. But I was proud of him, the way he battled, and you would not have thought for one second that he was gassed or tired. He just goes out there every play and gives it his all, and really, really proud of the way he performed.
Jess.
Justin Marks, Pro Football Network. Coach, can you talk about Hunter Lipke and getting him more involved and how you've seen him evolve really over the last few weeks?
Yeah, really cool story. When he first got here, it seemed like for Hunter, it was a big jump. He was kind of wide-eyed a little bit, and then, of course, he wasn't able to do a whole lot of stuff. But like I spoke a couple weeks ago, I think there was a couple of the night practices here at the Star where we were doing 9-on-7 drills, and we were watching him come off the ball and strike linebackers at the second level and run his feet and all that. The flexibility of what he brings is really cool. We had a 3rd-and-1 run yesterday, a little dive play where, again, the two-eye technique, the A-gap defender kind of looped out, and we kind of missed on him, and so he was free in the hole, but he just kind of avoided him and just had the instincts, the natural running ability to kind of weave back to the right, and I think it was a 9-yard gain. Plays very physical, and you just see his confidence growing. You know, he can do so many cool things for us, whether it's carrying the ball, pass protection. You know, again, played tight end really in college, so you can see us doing some things with him formationally where you move him around. But really exciting young prospect that we're pleased with how he's playing, and you just see his confidence growing every week.
Thank you.